Welcome. My name's Mike Davis. This is going to be our first, lack of a better word right now, Power Hour. This is our segment where we're going to talk about tools, big tools that we use on big jobs like this. We always talk about teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? So a big part of doing a job like this is having a good team in place. An important part of the team is your suppliers. Okay, so Armando here is with the Colony. I'm going to let him talk about his company in just a second. He is one of our major suppliers out here. He does tools and all kinds of other building products that we use. Another important part is our subcontractors. So James Van Meer, pan over there. He's one of the largest rebar installers here in the city, maybe in the state, for all I know. We've known each other for almost 20 years, do a lot of business together. And then this is Matt. He's a manufacturer's rep, so he's actually representing a certain manufacturer's group of products. So Armando's company is called Colony. They're new here in Houston. They had a big event not too long ago, and they had all the manufacturers. So these suppliers, they all sell the same products, or a lot of this crossover. You can get your DeWalt's, you got your Milwaukee's, you got Matt's brand, you got all the things. They all sell the same. What makes a difference is service. Okay, so we call Armando, we say we need this quickly, and he gets it out to us. So that makes a big difference. Anyway, all that to say, Colony's new to town. We hooked up with Armando through a recommendation. That's how all this works. James got his recommendation from someone else on another job. We called him. He was over here. Bam, all of a sudden we have an account and we're buying stuff right and left. Okay, so they had a big event. Colony had a big event, and I saw all the manufacturers there. And Matt here was the most enthusiastic one that I saw. He loves his product. He believes in it. And now's his chance to kind of show it off here. And we'll get into that in a second. Armando, tell us a little bit, anything you want to about Colony.
Well, my name is Armando Huereca. We're Colony Hardware. We just hit the Houston market, say 2 or 3 months ago. We have plenty of your construction material needs. Like I said, we're here new. We're here to help customers out, so please give us a call. You can look at our website at www.colonyhardware.com.
All right, and then Matt, he's representing the manufacturer here. So Matt, tell us a little about your company and yourself and anything else you want to say.
My name is Matt Johnson. I'm with Max USA. We're an 80-year-old Japanese company with U.S. headquarters in New York, and I'm based in Houston, working the Houston market. I'm working for Max for 9 years, trying to complete going on to my 10th year now. We sell an innovative tool. It's the Max Rebar Tire. It's something that is unique to our company. There are other versions of this that are copies of older generations, but if you want innovation, you want leading edge technology, you go with the Japanese and you go with the Max Twin Tire.
Okay, so we're going to do a little demonstration here. We'll do the practical application first, and then we'll let Matt talk a little more about his product directly, and we'll let our rod busters go. So, James, tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, anything else you want to say.
Our company started in 1986, been around for a long time. We're one of the top 4 steel placing companies in the state. We're here today to demonstrate the pre-tie, and I'm going to learn something today, hopefully. Let's see.
So, this is no baloney, okay? You got a man that's been doing this for a long time, represents a huge company. You got a man here trying to sell his product, very proud of it. And so, we're going to get, this is, his friends call him Butch. I call him Butch, okay? He is skeptical. He's been doing this a long time. He's seen products come and go. I haven't seen any innovation in rod busting my entire career. You're going to see, we're going to put this head to head with a spool, which is what I've seen the guys use for 22 years and probably in service a lot longer. I've seen no innovation, right? So we're going to put that head to head with, we got the best rod busters in the business here. They're going to tie it as fast as they can with their hands. And then we're going to let someone loose with the tool. We're going to do a little time lapse over 1 or 2 minutes. I don't know. We'll figure out what the appropriate time is. And then we're just going to see. Butch is going to tell you, either he liked it or he didn't, either we sold him or we didn't. It doesn't really matter, other than this is the real deal. Okay, so here we go. Butch, what's our demonstration going to be?
This would be considered a rebar flint vertically, and we'll start off with 4 ties at 3 inches on center. We got 3 ties down here at the bottom at 3 inches on center, then we put a template in the middle. And then he's going to demonstrate how he can tie the corners, and with them we'll do the rebar guys.
Okay, you want to do the rod buster first, or you want him to go first?
Yeah.
You want him to go first?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You want me to tie, or you want your guy to tie it? Because you're going to have your guys tying. I've done this a long time tying. I prefer it to even have a rookie that's never tied with my gun tie. See how long it takes.
I got a volunteer.
I'm really.
I got a volunteer right here. Come here. This is one of our.
What do you want to do?
I really want you to try that.
Mike's gonna do it. Here, have you ever tied any rebar in your entire life?
No.
Here we go, Matt.
You've never tied
Here we go.
rebar. Have you ever used my tie gun? Have you ever put your finger on it or anything else? All right, simply put, I'll explain to you, and this is how quick we're going to do it. Number one is, don't put your finger in it.
Right.
It's going to tie, and it'll tie, and it'll tie it to the point where it'll be hard. I've got a torque dial in the back. Number one's my weakest tie. Number 6 is my strongest tie. Number 1, I'm using it in Fredericksburg, for example, and a couple of different vineyards, and they're tying the vine to the wire where they actually are growing the vineyards. Electricians use this as well to tie conduit to a bar or anything like that. So they don't want to cut the conduit, so you use it on the lightest. For us to go on the tightest, number 6, I'm going to use it when I'm climbing, when I'm below 0, because my tool will work below 0, and when I'm tying for you. Basically, you turn it on. If there were to be any kind of malfunction where you actually jam it, this gun, all you got to do is turn it off, turn it on, pointing it down, and it clears itself. The only time that you'll ever have any kind of problem with any kind of malfunction like this is if you have a situation where you jam a piece of wire, so you make sure that the wire comes out. That's it. This is the only time those malfunctions go away, probably after 5 minutes of you using the tool. You don't have a situation. What we're going to do is we turn it on. We're going to sink it all the way down. You see these little points right here. That's the middle of the bar right there. So what I want to do is I want to sink the bar down to here, and I want to go ahead and pull the trigger and wait for it to finish tying, which is a 0.5 second tie. So you should be able to do it. Just let it half a second to tie. When we come here to tie, 3-inch on center, we're not in a position where we're actually measured here. So what you're going to do is, if you want to do a figure 8, you're going to come in, and again, make sure your tool is turned on. You're going to tie here, and they're similar to what you would call a figure 8, and that's what we do. So it's not measured on 3-inch on centers, but in this case, it looks like they've got a little white line here, so you're going to follow that little white line, and that's what you do.
Oh, okay.
So once we're there, if you're going to follow that line, if you're going to do that, you're going to come in and follow this at every place, and that's it.
Keep on going.
Okay, so
you can do both
all right,
sides.
so we're gonna get a clean start here. You redo this one, okay? And you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, all along the bottom. We won't worry about timing it out here. We'll time it on the video. So whenever you're ready, no pressure. I bet you wish you would have done the video camera now, huh? Okay, here we go. Don't worry, let's stop with Matt. We're just gonna do it on the
I want
bottom.
you to leave that. Go on and retry that. I want to prove a point.
All right, here we go.
All right.
No, just just do the top all the way.
You're going to do the top.
And look for the little white mark.
Redo all of them, Mike. So do this one. This one just keep marked right down the road.
We've got an operator that's used this gun for the first time, and he's already doing figure 8. So by doing figure 8s, go ahead and any angle that you want to put it down. So if you see like that, just any angle that fits. So it doesn't matter if you hold it backwards, upside down, whatever, any angle you want. Just hit it to the bottom. So again, our learning is coming in right now at the very beginning. All the way to the bottom. Remember, put it all the way to the bottom. There you go.
Come on, Mike. That ain't that hard.
And about right in the middle. Right in the middle, all the way to the bottom. Keep your finger off it. Hold your finger on the trigger until it finishes tying, and that's it. So any labor or anybody that comes in that never tied before would be able to come in.
Get the last two right there.
On the top.
This is just one of 4 ties yet, so we want to go ahead and keep on going all the way around.
Good. This is good enough to prove the point.
Okay.
All right.
Now, what's the got a point?
Now, my point here is, if you come back over here and film down through here, okay? Now point something. You see how this is not all the way up against the rebar? That's not all the way up against the rebar. You see this here? This would be probably dealing with the clearance. This is not making contact with that corner.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had an experienced guy doing it that didn't know to do that.
I know. But my point is, when the guys go to tie with that machine, you have to have this guy holding these 2 ties together. and making the tie.
Would you like to go for a second?
And if you're
I bet
dealing
you-
with this, your pinch point could get your fingers. There's a safety factor to this when it comes to getting too close to that.
Sure. Now, I understand that you feel that you need to have two hands on it, and that's the thing about our tool, that we do have one-handed operation. And I'm able to come in, and you can see I'm cinching it. Because I'm already tied here, it might not come in to tie to the level where it is.
You just now wasted your freaking time. All right?
Probably
You
still
did,
at
because
about a
that
minute.
still didn't go in.
Correct. It came in from the start where we put it in the first ties. Correct. So if we would have guided him and instructed him that what you want to do is you want to make sure this is all the way over there. I'm not a rod buster. I know my tool pretty well. But if we look at a situation where that's what your goal is, then we need to make that goal clear from the start so that our guy does exactly what he's supposed to do. So I'll cut this and we'll go to exactly what he wants us to do, following instructions after we've done it to figure out what we need to do. And normally my tool is known and famous for lack of waste. So he wants us to be against that. So what I would do then is I'd come in probably and tie this here. Again, no pinch point necessarily. If you want to tie it completely. So I took there about 4 seconds to tie that compared to a rod
Now,
buster thing.
come
About a
at
minute
this
and a half.
angle, come
Uh-huh.
at this angle, and film back down. Then you're fighting with clear coverage again
So
on
you
the
want the top,
opposite
yep.
side.
Yep, I see what you want. So yeah, by looking at what you're wanting and understanding the job a little bit better, I think we can easily do that. The accommodations that come in instructions are something that we have to do. You see on this one, there was not an issue. We're pointing this one out. That one
My
did it.
point is, in order to get the right clearance and to make sure there's contact, we'll prove a point here when the guy starts tying. His fingers and everything are going to be too close when you're pre-tying a column. And if you were doing a beam, it would be the same thing if you were up above doing elevated. And then also, if you were in a beam or a grade beam or a beam on elevated decks, once it's tied, the centers, for instance, my 4 inches on center, a lot of beams anymore are 6 inches on center. So once you frame up your beam, boom, 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 that is hard to put that machine inside a 6-inch clearance to tie the bottom.
There is no doubt that it would be difficult to put it in there. And it comes down that we can't do everything, but unfortunately it doesn't become very difficult when we come in from the bottom and tie it
Yes,
just like
but
that.
you got to imagine,
So we want to make sure
if
that
you
we're on
had-
the corner, not put it right in the corner.
say if this was a beam in an elevated deck, there would be plywood on this side that would give us an 1.5 inch clearance, plywood on that side of 1.5 inch clearance, and plywood of 1.5 inch clearance.
Correct. So there will
Your
be some
gun
places
would
where we
be
won't be able to tie.
impossible to go down into the beam.
Correct.
All right, now untie this. Untie this.
Córtalo.
Corta de ese lado y yo empiezo de este lado. Estoy atando con dos de 18.6, es que el calibre es un poquito más chico, pero como son dos. So yeah, I see your stickers on your hard hat helmet. I see Vaughn, they bought Spot Glass just bought like 2 weeks ago. Weber, they bought about 5 years ago. So all of these guys are doing that kind of job that you're
I
talking
have
about.
not bought this product, but we have demonstrated it over on TMC3. The battery packs, the battery, how many hours can you get out of battery?
5,000. So in a precast plant running 8-hour shifts, we ran exactly 1 8-hour shift, and the next 4-hour shift running 12 hours. I was a guy tying that all he does all day is tie.
Yes.
Typically on a job like this, we're going to see the charge is going to be about 3 to 4 days.
You still in the back of
Oh, of course, yeah. About 3 or 4 days for the charge. We're talking 5,000 or greater ties. So for you guys, maybe 3 or 4 days, 80% charge at 30 minutes, 100% charge in 45 minutes. So worst case scenario is if you forgot to charge it after your 3rd day of using it, put it in at lunchtime.
How
in
much does
30
the
minutes.
tool cost?
It depends on the dealer. I am the manufacturer, so it
How
depends
much?
on the dealer.
What's the retail? Do you have a suggested retail price?
Somewhere between $2,400 to $2,600. So typically you get your money back in about 1 or 2 days, depending on how many crews you have, and sometimes it's a full project. But obviously it turns to yielding saving money, saving labor, and obviously safe for your environment, for your people to do more
Labor,
ergonomic.
I agree with you on a certain point, but it doesn't save in labor.
Well,
I've done cost analysis for 1,000 people,
Come on.
and everybody agrees. As a matter of fact, Forterra Precast
Okay, now
felt that we
tie
gave
that
about a
as tight as
14%
you
increase in.
Come on, se llama.
Right.
Llama. ¿Cómo se llama?
Huh?
¿Cómo se llama? For the camera.
Unless
Oscar. Oscar. Okay. He's the best.
try
Here we
to
go.
don't waste no tie on. No long tail.
Two-handed operation. Stressing is the wrist doing a little bit of turning and twisting, which is part of what carpal tunnel comes from, developed from.
Yes, and then part of your wrist here is getting your fingers snatched. You're,
In my 10 years, I haven't run into anybody, so I
you're
do try to help.
100% more of a chance of getting your this machine pinching your fingers when you are carpal tunnel.
If there is
I've
operator,
been doing this going since 1979. My hands have never had carpal tunnel.
that's a good thing. There's actually a NIOSH report, National Institute of Safety and Health, that talks about
Keep going, Oscar.
the hardest industries for tension, and they do consider rod busting one of the hardest ones. It's interesting to have a NIOSH report, a government report, that says the best alternative to prevent carpal tunnel from rod busters is to use automated tie machines, such as the Max rebar tires. For us to see NIOSH and the government agency suggest the best alternative to avoid carpal tunnel for rod busters is to use our machine. We kind of like that. I've got that report if you'd like that. Government report that specifically states my name.
There's a difference in the tie that he's making right now. He's doing what you call a figure eight with a circle. And I'll explain that.
Yeah, there's not all ties that we can do. There's no doubt. We can do some jobs 60%, some jobs 70%, some 90 and 100%. In this job, it looks like this. I could do pretty much 100% sitting there on this form without a problem. This is not one of the issues that we'd ever run into having a problem.
Now, take your camera back down to the other end.
Okay, so for everyone at home, that's as good as it gets on the hand. That man is
Yes.
fast. He knows his craft very, very well. Go ahead, Butch. I'm sorry.
My point here, yes, you're correct on his comment of experience of time. If you go back down to the front and aim your photo this way, you'll see there's no problem with clear coverings. All right?
To be honest with you, I should have looked at that from the start. I did not, but I think that can easily be done by operator instruction and teaching the operator what you want him to do.
It's a matter of
5-minute
how
learning.
close you want to get your fingers to the machine. All right?
If we have this opposite
There's
side,
one
we're
other-
doing the same thing here. Say
I'm
we're
not
doing
here,
that
Doc.
here
Let
because
me-
that's going to
Let me
continue.
prove a point.
Yes, sir.
All right? The difference of his tie, he did a double tie, 2 ties he had to do a figure eight. Well, once this is hooked onto that forklift and the choker vertically, what we worry about as arm workers and our personnel of safety on the job is one of these bars popping out of the cage. And by him putting a figure eight with a wrap on it, that lets us know that that bar is not going to slip down. The single wrap around that makes a change. There's in the standard. I'm an ex-iron worker, also out of Local 84 for many, many years. There's what you call, when you're building beams, we do what they call a saddle tie. You can do a single saddle tie with a double wrap, or you can do a figure eight with a double wrap, or you can do a snap tie or a double snap tie. And that's the difference here.
Yeah, we can
Now-
do figure eights
now,
and snap
if
ties.
you will,
we can't do
Oscar,
the
Go ahead and finish tie these 4 ties right here to where I can prove something. All right?
Correct. We do not do a saddle tie, like you say. We cannot do a saddle
No,
tie.
you cannot.
Nope.
And it's very important on vertical, especially on your column steel when you're flying it above everybody's head.
So typically in a situation like this, what I see in the years that I've seen this doing, they'll do your saddle tie. They'll do exactly like you're doing here on the four corners, and then the rest of it they'll knock out with mine. So we'll take about 10 minutes to do the four corners and about 2 minutes to do the rest of it with my tool.
Then, if you will, come back over here and tie these 3 ties right here. All right, come over here. Tie these 3 ties.
This is different size.
Yeah, that's a different one. Anyhow, that's good enough to put in a point. Wait a minute.
Just a hot.
Now, say if you were tying a gray beam or an elevated beam, come back around. Put your hand in that hole
Pon tu mano ahí en
and
ese
tie
lado.
the raw hole at the bottom
Y
Hasta lo
Amara.
allí.
yeah,
Okay.
from the
Okay.
top.
Tiene que
From
lo
the top.
haces de por arriba.
de arriba, de
No,
arriba.
sir. You're going to come from the top and tie that bar.
Amárralo de arriba.
Come from the top.
Sí, sí, sí.
Okay.
No.
Qué complicado.
You're going to come from the top and tie it. Put your hands in there.
Pon tus manos adentro de ahí.
Yeah. Or you're going to have to put one hand here and one hand here to go down here to tie the tie. There you go.
Or you use a tool from the outside and you go,
No.
in 1 second.
I'm trying to say that there's plywood deckum here and plywood and plywood.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
I've seen that.
Now, if you will, bring your machine here and try to tie that bottom tie.
I wouldn't tie from the top, I tie from the bottom.
You couldn't because there's a plywood deck and there's plywood here and plywood
So
here.
in that
This would
application,
be sticking up maybe 2 inches above the deck.
yeah, in that case, we couldn't tie it. How much of that application are you going to run into? Obviously, this isn't that application because this is very
I
standard.
just
We've seen
left
these.
TMC3 job that 90% of the project would have been in that predicament.
So that's one project, and I would venture to say that probably 90% of the projects that I go to, well, no, I venture to say about 98% of
Any
the projects that I
job
go to, I could tie.
The where y'all would know, we have strictly concrete elevated decks. We have what they call a pan deck, which will have girder beams and joists. That would be metal decks, pan decks, and with plywood decks. That building would be 80% like that throughout the job of flat slab on top of the beams.
I guess then the question would be, how much of your job is that? Because there are jobs that we can't do. I mean, I was at a chemical plant in LaPorte here about 3 weeks ago, and they had some number 12 to number 14 bar, so we couldn't tie that. And then percentage, they actually broke that down, and that was less than 3% of the bar. The remaining bar was all 6 and 5s and 4s, and so that gave us an ability to do over 90%. And we were able to do that. That's actually for Turner Industry, who has 27 of our tools. Turner Industries, both in Houston, Corpus, I mean, everywhere Turner has us. And they're doing that. So we could see, I picked up just the pieces of wire, even after you asked him not to waste wire. I picked up some of the pieces of wire, and gee, my ties equal about that much in wire with no waste whatsoever. So your tie wire is about 2/3 cheaper than me. But over the long run, you'll end up seeing that you actually save money on wire. We use a lot less wire.
On tie wire, that doesn't concern me. Karen, come here for a second.
Yeah,
sir.
yes.
All right. If you will, photo these two guys. All right. This is the typical ironworkers type belt with the tools on the side, a bag in the back,
A reel on the
and
side.
a rear on the side. All right.
So about 10 pounds for him.
If you will. Most of the time, if we're on elevated, he'll have a full harness on top of that. The difference is we have tried these here, Put yours on your belt.
I've got it on belt. It was there the whole time, and I've got 2 spare reels, so I've got about a full day of tie wire on me, with me. I could probably add another reel on each one of the outside pockets, so carrying 4 or 5.
Here's mine. See the belt? And you see this in here? That sets on your hip all day long. All right? This here, I demonstrated out there at TMC for a few months, and it really gets in the way of an iron worker's belt. And also, where it's riding down here all day, have you ever had heat between your legs and you walk like this at the end of the day? Well, eventually, that's flipping your pants and legs there. Sure. And you'll end up with a blister. Right?
I hadn't heard that yet. In all my years, I hadn't heard that. I know that I have heard that, and I've seen it from the ironworkers where they get that with their pant right here, and you'll see it'll wear out to the point that if you see the difference here, this is actually pressing. Te está empujando allí, lo sientes al final del día. Do you feel that pain after? ¿Sientes que te empuja un poquito? So he's comfortable with that, and that's kind of how they feel with this tool too. It actually, the laying of the tool, yeah, it does lay against you, but my gosh, I mean, I can do calisthenics and it stays on pretty well. So
then,
I never have had that. That's a first one for me. So that's thank you.
Then if you
something
will,
I'll pass on to R&D people.
and sort of look at the wall over there.
Over there, Mike.
Yes.
I mean, Saul.
Let's look at the wall over here.
I follow.
Now, if we were on the wall, and say if we had to make a tie on that back face,
You can't.
we can't.
Correct.
Not at all.
Nope.
The word a guy with a reel, he can reach back there to that back face, untie it, and tie it back if he had to. Say if there was an opening that got changed in there, and we had to come back and cut it out, his machine would not be able to go do any work on that side.
Typically what they would do in a case like this is when the back wall is being put in, that's when they tie instead of coming in and tie the
Now
second
this
wall.
is where I think it would be good, all right? Your machine. Once this was all framed up, maybe a 4 foot on centers, this outside face, boom, boom, boom. But the only thing, there's a safety factor to this. Once you put your harness on and you start climbing down or moving around, that has more of a chance of getting caught on the rebar.
I've seen some guys when they do this, because I've been on a lot of places climbed. I think Armando was asking me, "You ready to climb?" I said, "Yeah, remember we've done that." I have seen them actually put the clip a little further back to do that, just to avoid it. Most don't, but I have seen some guys that I see the gun here and they grab from behind, and it is pretty quick. Again, even that operation is still a one-handed operation. When they're doing here, they're going to lean back and they're going to use both hands, and they're going to use both hands to tie. Whereas with this one, I'm going to hang on, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I could do 20 ties from one place where I'm standing, instead of what they're doing there is they're going to do one tie, one tie, one tie. So in a position like this, I finish this. If you give me 4 guns here, give me 4 labors, never used a gun before, I tie this outside of this wall probably in less
You
than an hour.
realize something? You just made a comment. If I had 3 or 4 guns, all right, those 4 guns would cost what?
Somewhere around 10 grand, less than 10
About
grand.
10 grand. Believe it or not, in this job, there's not enough of profit into this job to invest 10 grand into that job.
And on that job, correct. The thing, of course, obviously, we look at the fact that I've seen tie guns with over 1 million ties, over 3 million ties. I've seen these tie guns last. I just saw a 395 come in that was 12 years old for repair, and we're like, "You're so worn out, we can't do it." So yeah, you're not going to make it up in the one job. Here, probably we have these guys. And this is probably a 3-day job for them tying. So if I could tie it in 1 hour with 4 guns, I avoid 3 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. Their labor, well, you're probably paying about $2,000-3,000. So that's easily for one labor. We already cut that out. So then we do this next one over there. We have another one. There's that gun paid for. So we have 4 of these. Yep, you pay for that gun in this job
I've been doing this long enough that I've demonstrated this gun before.
I don't know if you've ever done the twin tire.
We have United Tool and Form. Your competitor brought it to us.
United Tool?
Yeah, John Calhoun.
I know John very well, as a matter of fact.
We tried it out. And
they're not
I highly recommend, if I had miles and miles of road, a flat road, single, that would be great. But even in road work, if it comes to a double mat, it's too close on centers, he would not be able to tie that. But that would be great on single mat roads.
I think road and bridge is a huge thing.
It would be great on tilt walls of single panels.
Correct.
And
tilt
stuff
walls
like
love
that.
us. And then I think our biggest market share is probably, we own the precast industry. I hate to say that, but I can tell you that here in Texas, I can tell you there's one precasters. They do very similar forms like this all day long. I saw one of my competitors' tool, a Ben and Nauman tool at Park Industrial, 12 feet up in the air. They wanted to show it to me to see how bad the copy was.
Have you ever did work with Leo Rowe, the precast guy?
Who's that?
Leo Rowe.
No, I don't know the name.
He used to be out there off of Beltway 8, and he just moved his precast shop over.
What's the name of the precast company?
I forget.
He might be a small one because I know some of the smaller ones I'm not familiar with.
He does all of the city buildings and stuff like that. But
I
not
think
to
every
get off the subject, but I would use that if I was doing highways and single walls.
I look at your helmet and I see, Spot Glass, Vaughn, I see Tellefson. I think I'd say 95% of those guys have already bought my tool.
I don't doubt it. But
every one of
in the rebar business, it would take me too long to make a profit off of a job to buy 4 or 5 guns, which majority of your high rises doesn't have that kind of profit to invest into these guns.
He says that with the developer saying here.
Yeah, with the developer. I think that, I think the proof is in the pudding. I think the best bet will probably be in this case, let me lend you a demo gun. Let me let you use it for a while and let you guys consider it. Now, I'd want your employees to use it, knowing that we went through about a 3-second safety presentation. It's actually going to be about 3 minutes. Don't put your finger in it. Put it on 6, tie it all the way to the bottom. We can, capacitation training on that is so easy that literally anyone that, as you saw, anyone that has never tied with it, we can do it. So I think we could actually show you and do a cost analysis where we can show you very clearly we can save you money and you'd earn money on this. You'd make money.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time, sir. I know it's sometimes hard.
I appreciate it coming from the point.
Yeah,
I just turned 65.
I'm 58, so I'm an old man too.
And I'm always open-minded to learn something new. But it takes a lot to change my mind about a lot.
Sure does. And that's why I say the best bet, I think, would be to let you use it, because I'd say 95 to 99% of the people that end up using it end up buying it. There's to the point that we have people that I have a difficulty getting those demo tools back. And it's not that they're misplaced, it's that the guys, well, I bought a box yesterday and I want to keep using it. I'm like, okay. And I've had demo guns that I told them I'd pick them up in 3 days, and 2 weeks later, I'm still like, please. Well, we bought another box. So, again, I'd like you to use that and go from there and see what it does for you.
All right, so you saw it here, real deal. You got a very skeptical customer that's been doing this a long time. You got a passionate salesman. We will come back when we get a little higher, and we'll have a little different applications. We're going to do exactly that. We're going to get a demo tool, and we're going to do a cost analysis. We're going to give this man a chance to show exactly what the product does. And then Butch is going to give it a fair shot. And so, to be continued. As always, one cut, you got it all, and we'll see you next time.